Hello, I'm Sarah McKenna and I'm back again with Dr. Thomas Burgdorff. This time we're going to be having a quick chat with regard to the upcoming webinar series that he's speaking at. The title of which you already know by now is Sustainability in a World Growing in Uncertainty, Risks and Opportunities, Optimising Performance, Unlocking and Allocating Resources Ahead of Less Resilient Competitors. Now, this webinar is the why, what and how to regarding sustainability. We've done why and we've done what. Those sessions have already run. And the next one, which is the how-to session, is on the 25th of November. All of these webinars have got just outstanding speakers, and this final session is no different. So today, another of our taster sessions, I'll be having a quick chat and asking a few questions. So you've agreed to be a speaker for the how aspect of this series. Can you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, happy to do so. So I'm Thomas Burgdorff and I live in Germany. Maybe I can start why I'm not only interested, but even passionate about sustainability. And I think that's a little bit has to do with my Christian background, so the Christian upbringing. I think this kind of inspired me to not only care about myself, maybe not only about my family, but also about others. And obviously, I think you cannot do this if you're sitting on a couch. So after I finished school, I went to Australia for 3 months, explored the country, and then I took up my studies and was always very much interested in what's going on in the world. So I wrote my master's thesis on forgotten wars in Africa.
Okay.
And now if I think about those horrible things going on in Sudan, I think, yeah, this sounds a little bit similar to what reminded me a little bit of what I did some really many years ago. Then I continued with my PhD thesis. It was also about a foreign country, another country. It was about migration, civil war, and development cooperation in Guatemala. So that was also a really fascinating topic, also very interesting experience for me, so to say, having never been to such a country, really totally different culture. Then I worked for a couple of years as a political consultant. So knowing also this side of the story. And then before I moved into the industry, having then still working for a major utility in Europe. And currently I'm focused on driving forward a learning organization within my company in the areas of health, safety, and environment. In 2023, I co-founded ISEP Europe. This is under the umbrella of ISEP, the organization that is also kind of co-hosting this webinar series. And I think we really developed a really meaningful network connecting currently roughly 400 sustainability professionals. And what we do is we organize webinars. As you might agree, it's a little bit difficult if you have Europe as, so to say, your playground, and to organize a face-to-face, a physical meeting. So we do this mainly online. And we are also organizing events with corporate partners. That's another focus area. And also whenever possible, try to join sustainability conferences. We, in that sense, help ISEP, so the organization, to really have a kind of more global presence. And that's what to fill this gap in Europe. And I'm really passionate about driving this forward in the future. Yeah, that's about me in a few words. Yeah.
That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, it really does shine out that you take this quite personally, and that you are quite passionate about the subject. That is absolutely wonderful. So I want to ask you a key question, and I've asked all of the other speakers this question as well. But I think with your experience working in the various war zones that you've been in, I think it's probably really applicable to you. And that's, do you think that the conflict between the political and the scientific is going to reduce or worsen in the coming year or two, and why?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question, because I think it's the title of the webinar series. I think sustainability in a world growing in uncertainty, it couldn't be really more to the point. I mean, we really live in turbulent times. We have all those multiple crises ongoing. We have a kind of new centers of power. We have mass migration. We have all these kind of interesting, sometimes even frightening developments. Also, if we look at COP30, that will start on Monday, kind of a growing, let's say, self-confidence, awareness of the global south, getting more assertive, so to say. And it's also this kind of shifting of the different balance of powers. And this also definitely affects also sustainability topics. And if we look, for example, at the IPCC, I think that's also a good example. We definitely need those kind of scientific evidence. We need scientific information and enable to politicians to make the right decisions. But what for example, the IPCC does is not prescribing any specific policy, but they're just explaining different scenarios, what could happen, what might happen. And then it's up to the politicians to actually make those decisions. And I think this is important to clearly differentiate. Scientists are important, NGOs are important, but they, in that sense, do not represent the people, or they're not elected bodies, but they are, of course, important. Their voices should be heard, but it's up to the politicians to make the right decisions. And I think that's also important. I think if the IPCC can manage it, so to say, having all those scientists from all over the world, also from countries which might not have maybe currently the most friendly relations currently, so to say, I think that then the politicians, the governments should also follow their examples, also at COP30 and on future COPs, also always try to find a consensus. So I'm quite optimistic that this is being possible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is sometimes a struggle to maintain that optimism, isn't it? I mean, it's just a case that sometimes you look at it, all seems very, very dark. And then you realize that actually what people are looking to do is to get that voice of consensus and to actually do the absolute best they can, and not shout down the naysayers, but certainly tackle them with the truth, if you like. So that's really interesting. So thank you. I can really tell that you and the other speakers are going to offer us a really good deep down dive into this really critical subject matter. I've got one final question for you, and that's with regard to the webinar itself. What would be your aims for the delegates to take away from the sessions?
Yeah, that's really also a good question. I think that's my hope is that delegates actually will kind of recognize, discover the beauty and power of collaboration. I think it was also a central theme also throughout the whole webinar. And I think what we started with this sustainability network, or network of sustainability professionals, ISEP Europe is a good example of that. So we tried to bring people together, engage professionals, and then also kind of find maybe, or let's say, kind of share good practice also. And I think that's also, it goes beyond, so to say, what you can do within your own company. So we have really people from all different disciplines. We have people from maybe, let's say, more the social side of things, health and safety. We have people, environmentalists, who are kind of sustainability professionals, having maybe a higher level outlook at things. And I think that's something which is really, for me, really important. I've met so many great people since I started, since I co-founded and co-started this network together with my co-chair, Damien Plant, and the other really engaged committee members. And I think even if you take it, let's say, from a personal level to a kind of political state level, I think those this kind of collaboration and really good personal relationship, it actually does have the power to end wars, and also to make then the world a kind of safer and more sustainable and a better place. So I think I really believe in that, in this power of collaboration, especially in these kind of uncertain times. As we maybe going back to the title of the webinar series, I think the more uncertain the times are, so to say, the more the more we should collaborate and cooperate with each other. So that's really my hope, so to say, and I'm really optimistic that delegates will hopefully then take this away as one of their takeaways.
I have to agree with you. And I think with the kind of speakers that we've got and the kind of audience that is gathered, that message of collaboration and communication and the sharing of ideas, because I'm a great believer that you just never know where the next great idea is going to come from. And you won't hear about it unless you're open to listening. So that is really good. So once again, Thomas, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really good hearing from you. Fascinating, actually. And I look forward to hearing far more about the subject. And that will be on the 25th of November for the how-to session of this webinar series. Thanks once again, and goodbye.
Thanks a lot to you, Sarah.